Good Friday morning. Welcome to the WLBB Community Voice here on News Talk 1330, FM 106.3, streaming live online at newstalk1330.com. And this morning we're on the News Talk 1330 WLBB Facebook page. You can see my handsome young guest sitting across from me at the big desk here. My name is Colin Worthington. Our guest is District 30 State Senator Mike Dugan. He's also the Senate Majority Leader in the state of Georgia. And we're going to recap some of the important bills that were passed and get some ideas, some opinions on some of the bills that didn't pass as well. Mike Dugan, good morning.
Good morning. Good to be back.
And if you can see us on the camera here, I'm purposely, it's like when you go to a job interview and you get that person sitting across from you to have a smaller.
I noticed, and the one leg is off, so I rock.
That's the plan, you know, for other people, for people promoting nonprofit things. That's right, we put them up, but brought Dugan in here, we let him shrink down a little bit. Mm-hmm. Well, one thing I think important to start off the program this morning is to remind Haralson County voters that you are their state senator. Mm-hmm. Now at this point,
moving forward.
Yeah, have you seen? Has there been confusion on that?
No. It's been pretty well publicized, and their former Senator Anna Vitarte and I have gone through the county pretty extensively. Mm-hmm. With him going, "This is your guy," and me going, "Hey, I'm now your guy." So that, and I guess fortunately, having part of Bremen before the Carroll County part, I was already kind of engaged with Haralson County anyway.
And I thought that there's still some confusion because, I've seen frequently people still posting about Marjorie Taylor Greene, support for her at Haralson County, and that's congressional, but that's changed because she's no longer.
That's correct. It's Congressman Ferguson's up that way now. So it's there'll be some confusion, a little bit of confusion initially, but after one time, that'll be the way it's always been. After
they go to the polls and they can't vote for Anna Vitarte, they're looking at Dugan. So, all right, let's look back at the this session, which ended was about two weeks ago. So when it wrapped up, in your mind, what are the most important bills that were passed? Things that will help, Georgia as a whole.
Well, it was a great 2-year session. Or term, I guess. But this last session, it has been attributed as being the most effective session in memory. There was a lot of really good stuff that we were able to get done, and I'm sure we'll cover taxes and guns and everything else. But two of the ones that don't get as much publication that are huge for the state is one, the medical coverage for expectant and new mothers. I think we've talked about it on the show before that Georgia ranks near the bottom or at the bottom for the infant maternal mortality rate in the nation. Really, really bad. And just some simple changes that we made, we're able to expand the length of time that mothers can receive care, and hopefully we'll see a significant decrease in the number of moms and babies that don't make it during that year.
You guys have done something maybe for the last 3 years, right? Added something to that to improve that rate.
It used to be just, it was a very short time, and then we took it to 6 months because we have to pay for it too. You have to figure out where the money's coming from. And so this year we were able to work the funding to take it to the year, and that's it. That's as far as that's going to go.
Mm-hmm. All right, what's the other one?
Apprenticeship program. You have a statewide apprenticeship certification program that will be kind of overseen by the Technical College System of Georgia, which, West Georgia Tech here is a member of the Technical College System of Georgia. That's huge because if you're 15 years old, there are some careers, occupations that you can't be out there with unless you're in a certified apprenticeship program. And so we had a bunch of entities around the state that were saying they're an apprenticeship program, but they weren't certified. So this will enable kids younger in school to start getting hands-on skill training, doing something that they want to do, so they're ready to enter the workforce as soon as they get their diploma.
Is the qualify for that just a want, or is there something?
No. There's steps that you have to go through, and that's why we use TCSG as they're an educational wing to start with, so it is an educational program, but they do a lot of skills training as well. So they seemed like the perfect fit for this one.
How long are we going to keep forcing kids to not be kids until they're out of high school. I mean, not every kid is ready to do that, and that's why I ask about the qualifying. But I don't know. 15 years old, I'm still feeling like you're a kid, but you're already going to focus on your career and for when you get out of school.
When did you start working?
When I was 38. No, no. I mean, I worked from the time I was 15 years old. Yeah, but I don't know. I just feel like a lot of kids. We do all these bills and create all these programs. Sometimes it just feels like the kids aren't getting a chance just to be the kids and enjoy school and enjoy life and then focus on it. But I understand. I mean, there are some kids that are.
Yeah, this is not a European model. We're not forcing kids into the apprenticeship program. These are programs that the kid decides he wants to go into or she wants to go into. So it's you'll often hear on the experts, they call it the German model. No, it's not the German model. The German model dictates kids either go to the scholastic track or the career track. This is the kids and their parents have a huge say on how they want to go on this. So they still see themselves as kids. They're kids that are doing stuff that they want to do, and by the way, getting educational credit and income from.
District 30 State Senator Mike Dugan, our guest on this morning's Community Voice program. Questions and comments, I encourage you to post them to the News Talk 1330 WLBB Facebook page, and I will take a look at those during the commercial break. Taxpayers are getting some money back.
Oh yeah, twice
this year. Twice, yeah.
You got the rebate that's coming first. Once we covered all the expenses that we have in the state, and that's one of the things that. Matter of fact, it's the only thing we're constitutionally required to do is pass a balanced budget. So once we covered all of our needs in that area, you looked at it and said, okay, we've covered the costs, we've filled the reserve rainy day fund, we have the bond debt paid down. At some point, the people need their money back because it's not our money. It's all of our money. It's yours, mine, everybody else that pays into it. So if you've got too much, then they need it back. And then the second one is, so that's a one-time deal. But the second one is going forward. We're getting initially an income tax reduction to start with, but we're trying to get it down to 4.9%.
What is it right now?
5.75. Mm-hmm. So that's. And we got it. The trick is, how do you draw this so that nobody in the state ends up inadvertently has a tax increase? And we got it down to, there were actually 12 people in the state that were going to be paying $5 extra a year, and the mandate that I had was nobody pays more. So we had to tweak it one more time before we voted on it to get those 12 people down to no increase.
And what was the reason that they would see an increase?
It's retired high contributors to nonprofits. So
but why punish those guys?
So it's very, very, like I said, there was 12 of them. Mm-hmm. I'm surprised we could find 12 out of all the taxpayers out there.
Time right now is 8:38. Before we do take our first break, gas tax removed temporarily.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with the the taxes, the gas prices were going up before the war in Ukraine, and then they jumped exponentially after that. So Steve Graddick called in and said that he wanted to get rid of the fuel tax credit. Not really.
Every day for the last 3 years he's done that. So.
It's been 5. Yeah. But so any way that we could relieve part of the burden on that, we said, let's do this. The governor put that out and said through executive order that we then turned around and ratified that for through May, you don't pay that extra gas tax that the state collection anyway. And it's funny, I've noticed some of our federal friends are taking credit for that. And I was thinking, I don't remember y'all being there, but we appreciate your support of us doing it now.
So that tax will continue at least through Election Day, but not through the runoff, right?
Well, it depends on, it is extendable. Mm-hmm. It's going to kind of depend on where the prices are going forward. Now, of course, that means the state's not bringing in millions of dollars that you would typically use for roads, airports, rail, maintenance of those. And so what was it? I've told you before that, and I haven't gone back to see how much it's escalated, but a few years ago, the last time I checked, just the mowing and picking up trash on the side of the state roads is $14 million a year. So, that may be a point down the road where you see some of that slow down for a minute.
Have you had any concerns that money's being spent properly and none of it's being wasted? I mean, there's an oversight, I'm assuming, for that. With the money that's being collected. I mean, I think people who do not who aren't upset about paying taxes, they worry about it being the money being spent incorrectly. I mean, I hear that a lot about maybe a school system and T-Splost. But when you're collecting so much money, you're making sure that you're spending it right. You're just not feeling like, hey, well, we got all this money, let's just move it out.
That's it's an audited process to start with, and within that audit, every year we'll use GDOT for example, since we were talking about the fuel tax, that they have to come in and show us where they've spent the money. Show us collections, where they spent it, and then the projects they have for the next 10 years. And it's just a rolling thing that you do. But they have to go through that. They do that presentation to the legislature 5 different times. So they get asked a lot of questions, and they're reviewed both internally and externally.
District 30, State Senator Mike Dugan, our guest on this morning's Community Voice program as we recap this 2022 legislative session in the state of Georgia. We will take our first break and come back and talk about guns and schools.
Good.
We'll talk about those after this break. Community Voice.
School,
brought to you by Tanner Health System and Oak Mountain Academy on News Talk 1330, FM 106.3.
Health is a journey. It's making better choices, even when it's not easy. It's taking care of yourself and the people you love. At Tanner Health System, we're there for you with every step, with primary care, heart care, cancer care, women's care, orthopedics, surgical services, and so much more. We're dedicated to helping you live and feel your best. So let's get on that journey to health. You've got places to be for many years to come. Find us at tanner.org.
As a graduate of Oak Mountain Academy, I've found that my experience on the mountain prepared me beyond all expectations. As a junior at Auburn University, I approached my studies with great confidence thanks to what I learned at OMA. When I think back on my time on the mountain, I think of my teachers. Their genuine love and concern for me as a student was always evident, and now, as an adult, I still foster those relationships. I'm Carly Robinson, an Oak Mountain Academy alum. Visit oakmountain.us to see how you can offer your child an amazing opportunity to be a warrior.
8:43. Welcome back to the WLBB Community Voice, News Talk 1330 FM 106.3, streaming live online, newstalk1330.com, and the News Talk 1330 WLBB Facebook page. I'm Colin Worthington. My guest this morning, Michael Dugan. He is from Carrollton, and he is the District 30 State Senator. Also the Senate Majority Leader for the state of Georgia. Kind enough to join us this morning and do a nice little recap. Been out of session for 2 weeks, as we said, but looking back on some things that were approved and some things that were not approved. Guns. Talk about the constitutional carry. And is that the right term? I mean, I've seen people say, well, we shouldn't be calling it that, but maybe you guys just finally said, all right, fine, everybody's calling it constitutional carry, so we will too.
Yeah, I mean, call it whatever you want. What we did was we changed that if you're going to have concealed carry, you don't necessarily have to have the $75 fee that you would pay to the probate judge. If you want to buy a handgun and pick up the handgun on that same day, you have to have that certificate from that license from the probate judge. If you want to abide by the reciprocal agreements that other states have with concealed carry, you have to have that from the probate judge's office. But if I'm going to carry within Georgia, concealed, and I don't really care about those other parts of it, then I don't have to pay that $75. And what's odd to me is, people were thinking that you're going to have these things showing up all over the place. Legally before, if I was carrying concealed, law enforcement couldn't ask me to see my concealed carry permit. It was a violation of, well, I guess that would be your Fifth Amendment rights.
Well, if they searched you for some reason and they came across it, still wouldn't have.
If you broke the law then and they to the point where they were going to take you in, then yes, they would go. That would be an increase. But if you're just walking down the street and they notice that you're carrying concealed, they can't ask you.
Is there anything that could happen, or if did happen, you guys would say, okay, that was a failure in approving that? I mean, is there anything that you would look for?
I've been on the show with you a few other times with the gun-related bills that we've had but what ifs, and none of those what ifs have happened. So yes, the laws that we have, the laws, not the Constitution, but the laws that we pass are not written in stone. But they are the law of the land until we decide that they need to be adjusted.
There's at least two bills that affecting schools. Well, there's other bills that are giving teachers money and things like that. But as far as in the classroom,
don't discount that one now. That's pretty big.
I'll let you do that one. Yeah, but there's the two that will affect in the classroom. But but there's a little extra money going to school to educators.
You want to?
No, I want that money. Yeah, please.
I'll give you a $5,000 a year raise and see if you go. Well, that was cute. No, that's pretty significant.
Sure. No.
And we talk education a lot, and people go, "Well, you say you value it, but do you value it?" And anything that's in the public sector, you can tell how much is valued by following the dollars. And again, 52% of the budget again this year goes to education. In addition to that, we understand that the importance of gaining and retaining teachers, especially quality teachers, that in our school systems. And if one part we can do is to increase their salary, then we're going to do that. Which goes into one of the other questions you're going to ask me is about divisive concepts, and people are saying that this is going to cause teachers to have some potential concerns about, are they going to get in trouble for teaching divisive concepts in schools? Not if they don't teach divisive concepts. And this is within the school system. You're saying the second part is, I'm hearing from my friends across the aisle, is you're saying we can't teach a history. Absolutely not. That's what we're saying is you have to teach the history. You have to teach the good, the bad, cover all aspects of state, national. But what I can't do is look at little Colin over there in the back of the class and say, Colin, because of the way you look, you are either inherently inferior or superior than the people next to you that don't look like you. That you should not personally feel that that you are responsible for actions that may have happened, whether a few decades ago or a few centuries ago. You need to teach what happened, but if you're putting a burden of guilt, and somebody says, well, kid, you can't decide what a kid's going to feel guilty about. No, that's the kid. If I tell the kid as the instructor that you should feel guilty because of the way you look, then that's wrong, and that's not acceptable in the classroom. So
that's all that's in that bill.
Yep.
That one thing.
Well, it's yes.
I mean, I know it's probably not written like that, but yeah. I mean, you summarized it for us.
That is the overall capture of the bill. Mm-hmm. Now, it's in legalese, so
yeah,
it takes you 18 lines to say good morning. But yes, that is the intent of the bill.
All right, District 30 State Senator Mike Dugan, our guest on this morning's Community Voice program. There's also a bill which I was surprised to see that wasn't already in existence, or maybe it's a common sense thing, but I guess common sense doesn't matter anymore. You need to put stuff out there in legal terms just in case. But as far as giving parents the right to see what's being taught, or maybe even to criticize what's being taught in schools, I mean, it's a process they'll have to go through. Now, it came out of the Senate, right? It was Anna Vitardi's bill.
It's Anna Vitardi's bill. It's a policy that, fortunately, most of the 180 school districts across the state already have internally. Mm-hmm. It's not required. And we were starting to see some schools that were flirting on the edges, both within the state, and you've seen it nationally. I think Virginia became a major issue last year, or was that 2 years ago? Let's start running together now, where the educators or the boards were saying, no, parents shouldn't have a say. This is our responsibility. And for years and years and years, we've lamented the fact that parents were not actively involved in their child's education. You heard educators even say they treat us like a daycare program where they just send their kids here and then they go to work and then they come pick their kids up. They're not really. And now when the parents are getting involved, and I'm sure there's 1,000 factors, but part of it, I think, is a result of COVID. When the classrooms were closed and the kids were at home and the parents were able to kind of see what they were being taught, some parents had some questions about it.
Can any taxpayer, somebody who's paying taxes and has a concern?
Standing. You have to have standing.
Okay.
You're either an adult child that, like an adult child, that sounds, it's an oxymoron.
That would be me, yeah.
But if you're an 18-year-old in high school, which is not uncommon, then you would have standing. If you're a parent of a dependent of an underage child, you would have standing. But I couldn't be some dude from a different county that just comes over and arbitrarily.
Well, but Steve Graddick, who lives in Carroll County, what if he didn't like something that was being taught? Can he go over there and...
He can vote against those school board members, but he would not have standing.
Okay. We're going to take our final break here and come back and conclude our conversation with State Senator Mike Dugan, Community Voice, brought to you by Tanner Health System and Oak Mountain Academy.
Health is a journey. It's making better choices, even when it's not easy. It's taking care of yourself and the people you love. At Tanner Health System, we're there for you with every step, with primary care, heart care, cancer care, women's care, orthopedics, surgical services, and so much more. We're dedicated to helping you live and feel your best. So let's get on that journey to health. You've got places to be for many years to come. Find us at tanner.org.
Oak Mountain Academy has offered a challenging college preparatory education for 60 years. With over 500 graduates, we have maintained a 100% college acceptance rate. Over 90% of our students earn acceptance to their first choice of college or university, and over the past 5 years, our students have earned over $10 million in scholarship offers. Our students are creating a legacy. Come, be a part of our family and create your own legacy today. To learn more, visit us at oakmountain.us.
853 Community Voice, brought to you by Tanner Health System, Oak Mountain Academy, News Talk 1330 FM 106.3, News Talk 1330 Facebook Live program, Facebook Live this morning. As you can see, me and my guest, Mike Dugan, District 30 State Senator. I am Colin Worthington, going to wrap up our program here, try and get some things out here in the last 6 minutes. A lot of discussion. We were talking about schools a little bit. A lot of discussion about men playing, or males, people born males playing female sports, and you guys worked on a bill to not allow that. It's
the Fair Sports for Girls Act. You've seen. You say it's another one of those. Or is this a solution in search of a problem? No, you're seeing it come up. It's becoming prevalent, and there are parents out there that are concerned that they have a daughter who's playing a sport where there's, there is a strength factor in it, that having a fair ability to compete with another child that identifies as, in this case, mostly would be males playing in a female sport. And actually, GHSA kind of weighed in on this thing too. That there needs to be some ground rules that are on it.
I mean, nobody thinks that anybody's saying, "Hey, I feel like a woman and want to play sports," right?
No, but nobody wants to cause any deeper concerns for somebody that's obviously having some challenges with their life right now. And that was part of what we heard during the testimony, is that a child that is identifying as a sex that is not their biological sex has a lot of angst and concern just because they're dealing with a lot of mental and emotional issues. And we don't want to cause any more than that. But the 99.98% of kids that are biological females are playing in sports. And it's important to us to have girls play sports. If you go, why? Their academic achievement goes up. Their risk of pregnancy goes way down. Their potential for actually graduating goes up significantly. That's the self-esteem goes up. Care of their bodies goes up. So these are all side byproducts of girls in athletics, but they are huge byproducts, and we need to protect them.
857. Will recreational marijuana ever be legal in the state of Georgia?
I don't know. Will it ever?
How about during your lifetime? How about while you were the Senate Majority Leader?
Probably not the way the federal law is written right now. You hear states say they are legalized. They are not legalized. They have chosen not
criminalized.
They are chosen not to prosecute, and that can change at the drop of a hat in any one of those states. It is still a violation of federal law. And when we get to a point in society where we, as a body, pick and choose which federal laws that we want to abide by, then that's problematic.
Well, a lot of people do. We look at states' rights. I mean, that's what they preach, and they say it's up to the state. But
hierarchy of laws too.
I see that the legislators have made it easier to sell alcohol now and have access to alcohol. They changed some bills. Matt Brass's bill this year, last year even. Do legislators feel that alcohol is not as bad as smoking pot?
We can go down the
You've
rabbit
got
hole.
2 minutes to give me all the information.
We can go down this rabbit hole as long as you want. I don't think legalization of marijuana ranks as one of the top 100 issues that we have that are impacting the state of Georgia.
Sure.
And so we get sucked into an argument over something that is a really, really low priority issue. What we didn't talk about on this is the HB 1013, which is a terrible, terrible bill number. It's the Mental Health Parity Act. Which came out of the House. It honestly, the version that came out of the House had some issues. It had some significant issues, and thankfully, between the House and the Senate, we were able to put forth something that will help reduce some of the mental health demands that we're having across the state. And I know that we're running out of time, but one around here that a lot of the people in the western part of the county here were really, really concerned about was the Freedom to Farm Act, which prevents people from coming. You've been farming, prevents them from coming in and then saying, "Hey, you have a farm. It smells funny, and I want you to shut down."
Sue them, right?
Yeah. So that's a couple more that will impact people around here that we're concerned about.
Okay, before I think I might stretch an extra minute past 9 o'clock here because it is Mike Dugan after all. Gambling was brought up again, and nothing came through this year.
No, I would have. If you'd asked me at the beginning of this thing, do you think any form of gambling will pass this time? I would have said I thought sports betting would have passed, just with conversations around. And honestly, we had some of the groups up there that testified before the committees that are very, very anti-gambling. Sports betting and the one horse racing bill. And the horse racing bill was just horse racing. Part of the horse racing gambling issue that the people worry about is not the horse racing. It's the historical racing machines that are in the buildings around there. Look a lot like slot machines. And so this bill did not allow those and would have required an additional constitutional amendment in the future to allow those. So this would have been a constitutional amendment to have the people in Georgia vote on whether they wanted to have pari-mutuel betting, horse racing, without those. And then if if that had happened, then there was another bill that was in place, but the constitutional amendment, which needs 2/3, did not pass.
We can go on. You want to stick around till 10 o'clock?
No.
No. Hey, but yeah, the last question. I think there was you guys approved a tax, or being able to tax things you buy online.
Yeah.
And is that something that helped us have
Yes.
enough money to give us the rebate back and things like that?
Yeah, what you're talking about is a few years ago we passed something called the Marketplace Facilitator Bill, and that was, holy cow! I just went blank on the line versus South Dakota, which enabled us to. There was a court case that enabled us to pass this law, and without that, we would have had a significant budgetary issue coming out of the pandemic. Mm-hmm.
That timing, I think everybody was buying online.
They're buying online. By the way, I just pulled this up from yesterday. I don't know what today's numbers are, but the high point, we had close to 66% of all hospitalized patients were because of COVID. Mm. As of yesterday, it was 2.1%. So we had, across the state, we had 335 people in a hospital somewhere in the state with COVID-related symptoms. Mm-hmm. So hopefully this number keeps going down. This is the lowest point that it's been since the pandemic began.
Good.
So hopefully this is a trend that we are finally seeing our way out of this.
Absolutely. Mike Dugan, thanks for coming over this morning.
Thank y'all for having me, and thank you for letting me raise my chair so I didn't feel like...
The man went and got his own coffee too from our coffee machine. So again, and thank you for tuning in for this morning's Community Voice program. We'll be back on Monday. I'm not sure who the guest is, but I'm sure it will be entertaining because it'll be Steve Graddick. Randy Sanders will be here on Monday, so tune in for that program at 8:30 on Monday. Everybody have a great weekend.
Thank you.